In this episode, I make my way down the river Rhône using my electric engine most of the way. I meet an old friend, experience historical sites and an ancient city before finally reaching Port Napoleon and the Mediterranean Sea. So this is the merger. They got a 1 km/h tail current now. I'm hoping to get 2, 3. That'd be perfect because I can fight it if need be, but it would still help me along. For some reason the really detailed stuff just stops here. But I've got paper charts, I've got the Rhône pilot. So to the right here's the hydroelectric power plant, and to the left there's the lock. So I'm not gonna lie, I've had nightmares about this place just getting sucked down with a failing engine. I just going down the rapids, but I can't feel the current, not yet. And I'm at 300 watts out of 900 in total. You know, it could go both ways, but I'm not that concerned anymore. So this is only, well, not even half the river, but it's pretty narrow. Current's moving along there. 5.7, 5.8, 5.9, 9.2, 9.3. I mean, can't really complain now, can I? So the pilot's full of shit at times. The floating pontoon there it said I could tie up to was restricted one, and it was full of weed smoking kids as well. And the chart plotter isn't that much better. Apparently there's a marina there. So I might actually just have to stop in front of the lock. I've been told that you can ask them nicely and they'll let you, so I'm just really hoping that's the case, because I was doing 2 kilometers an hour going back upstream, so I'm barely leaving that. It's closed at 9, and I tried to call them and ask if I could stay here until the morning, because I've been told that's what you're supposed to do, but I was just told repeatedly in French that it's closed. They said that it opens at 5. So I'm ready. They're not. I haven't really slept that well, but it's better than nothing. This is the sailing vessel Valkyrie requesting permission to lock. This reminds me of the army. You just get up really early to wait. I'm ready.
Okay.
For this, getting up at 5 was totally worth it. So I just pulled in here. It's a public jetty. So I'm gonna catch some shut-eye for a few hours and then arrive in the marina without having to pay full charges. Just gonna read the rules here. "24 hours in." So it's 9:30, a little past. So slept for 2.5 hours, which gives me about 7 total. So I'm gonna get up and snoop around for a bit. So I got my favorite breakfast and everything, but yes, now I'm just charging everything. So I've got that panel lying there, just flat on the ground, and then my 2 panels on deck. I think I'm gonna wait until 12 or 2 or something like that. Because as I said, I didn't want to go straight to the marina because it's just around the corner there. And then I would have to pay for 3 days. Now, while I wait for the panels to charge everything, I'm just gonna finish up this mess here. I'm really looking forward to reclaiming my living space. What I'm gonna do now, I tighten these pretty firmly, but you're not supposed to do it all the way with the Tech 7 because then you just squeeze it all out. So now it's cured. It's a little better. Got some of the tools out of the way. So I'm just gonna take the rigging parts here, inspect them. I'll just stuff them against the wall in here. I'm so happy I just went for the electric now. It's not like I had a choice, but it's really nice to just be able to hear the birds, the wildlife, people yelling at you from shore. We're probably just doing 2 or 3 kilometers an hour on the engine now, so there's enough to steer, you know? It's like when you go down a river on a canoe, you just paddle a little bit to be able to keep your position, go where you want to go. So closing in on my intended destination for the day. We're here. There we go. Visitors. The other one.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Jérôme Gazelle et je vais acheter à Quai de Pitcharvé 1 kg de candies.
Vive la France et vive la Norvège, bien sûr. Sandré Elnes and Jérôme Gazelle in the boat with birches.
What's that?
Oh, what happened?
The hélicoptère.
Bientôt, it was the perfect time.
So that's an evening I've been looking forward to for a very long time. I mean, 12 years. I offered Jerome to join me to, well, go wherever, but unfortunately he has a wife, a house, and kids. Or he's actually building a house, he's a carpenter. But he gave me a map showing me his land. I've got the feeling we'll meet again. Coming in a little hot, but should be alright. Perfect. So that sucks. There's a lot of wasps here, and they're really aggressive. I don't understand why, but they attacked me just as I went ashore. There's too many for me to fight them, really. Anti-air defense here, because they don't come in for some reason. I wish I had a water gun. A big water gun. I just gone to town with all of them. Finally. So they really like my rope. This is gonna be painful, but I'm gonna shower them with water and then just make a run for it. I've skipped my workout for a couple of days. Maybe that's not such a bad thing after all. Nice little speed boost. So apparently this next stretch here has been canalized. It's been made more narrow. So I think this symbol here means that current's flowing rapidly. And yeah, looking at the water, the current has flown rapidly. There's a nice little pontoon over there. I'm at 3K75, or just about. So Oh, a nice little spot. Put the engine panel up there, and then the panel for the main bags in front there. And now I put the 160 watt EcoFlow panel on shore. Now I just gotta turn off the electric engine like that, and we're all set. Probably gonna be a lot of swell from barge traffic here, but there's no way getting around that. I was a little exposed here, but I did catch some ragtime. But one thing kept me awake, and it was a family that came here. They weren't French. I'm not exactly sure what language they were talking. And it was pretty strange because they were eating pizzas or whatever, and the parents gave their 10 or 12-year-old kids cigarettes and beer. And once they finished the cigarettes and the beer and whatever, they would just throw the trash in the river. So that really pissed me off, but you know, what can I do? It's 14 people. So, back on the river. Well, since it isn't super windy today and it's sunny, I think I'm just gonna try the bimini for a spin. I've been considering putting the autopilot on, but knowing myself, that's how I end up falling asleep at the tiller. I could use it by now. Coolest thing would be if I figured out a way to make the chart plotter talk to the autopilot. It's both were in range, and then I would hit a barge instead. But okay, this is pretty sweet. Huh. Just sit in the shade, and there's no shade coming on the solar panels. I just love that there's castles and watchtowers everywhere. There's one there, and there's one over there. Kind of makes it feel like Skyrim or Game of Thrones. I just really love history, and being surrounded by it like this is, wow. Pilot also has a couple of pointers, historical facts, information about sites and museums worth visiting. It's called Odin. That wasn't really expected. All the way down here, mine's called Valkyria, which means the Valkyrie. So, stuck here behind Odin. Well, these folks behind me are struggling a bit, so they're probably beginners. Or maybe it's just difficult with a cabin crew from the wind. It's gonna be nice with the prop wash, but there's not much to do about that, is there? Nine, 10, 11. So, 11 locks left. Try to do at least 2 more today. Once I pass this corner, there's going to be a rock in the middle of the river known as the King's Table. And there's a couple of different accounts explaining how it got its name. But the first one mentioned here is that apparently when King Louis IX went down the Rhône on his way to a crusade in the Holy Land, he wanted to stop for lunch. And for political reasons, he didn't want to go ashore on either side. And that, on the horizon, is the beginning of the Alps. So now I'm properly out of the flatlands. Oh, that's marker 100 from Lyon. 100 kilometers using solar panels and an electric engine. So that's the river is set, and now it's merging with the Rhône. Never seen that before. Locking from below. Oh no, the pilot. So now I'm coming up on the marina where I was supposed to leave my boat last winter. But judging by the videos Gary sent me, that would have been a wild ride down. And I wouldn't be able to turn up against the current. Now, I called them a week back and they told me that the inlet is badly silted. So I had to go in a specific way, and I forgot what that was.
Turns out the past couple of weeks it's actually been a heat wave. It's not supposed to be like that, but tonight I've slept like a baby. I fully recharged the batteries. The power I'd gotten from the EcoFlow during the day yesterday, that was 30 amps, and it charged a whooping 60.7 amps. And as you can see on the MPPT, it got 840 watts yesterday, which means without the solar or anything, I would have been down to 40 amps. It's 20% of the battery capacity.
That was one of the old chain tugboats for the Rhône. The same kind of vessel that pulled me through the tunnel on the St. Quentin Canal. Just way bigger. Well, it's been there for a while. Pilot mentioned it, so that's a shame though. Should have been in the museum. Project of the day is going to be fixing the gas outboard, because well, I'm doing 5 kilometers an hour, 4.5 to 6, and it just doesn't cut it. If I'd managed to do 10 kilometers an hour, I would have been down at the coast in 2 days. So there's the lock. Écluse de Pierre-Bénite. This is the sailboat Valkyria. Over.
Rhône Princess, for overshipper.
So I'll be there in 10-15 minutes.
Can you repeat please what area?
Victor Alpha Lima Kilo Yankee Romeo Juliet Alpha.
How many time at please?
15 minutes. So I'm getting a green light there, and that's not good, because man, just have to work on a run then. Lo and behold, I actually finished. Nothing like a little stretch to get you going, isn't it? What's your tell? I'm ready. And just finishing off putting the carb together inside of a lock while sitting on the ropes holding the boat. A Danish boat. I got to talk a little Norwegian-ish. Poor flag has seen better days. Charred completely black from the exhaust, but now I'm hitting the currents. I was thinking how nice it would be to have an umbrella. It works. And I was trying to get into a good habit now by calling the lock way ahead. Now I just got a green light and I'm still a kilometer away from it. So much for my plan of swapping outboards whilst waiting. I was told to speed up. That's a little embarrassing, but I'm doing 6 now instead of 5.4. So I just told him I have an electric engine. I didn't want to get into the finer points of fluid dynamics and power required to double your speed. There goes Alsace or whatever, and now I just gotta figure out a way to swap for the gas monster. So I know there's no boats coming down here now, at least. Lock's blocked, and there's not gonna be any coming upstream as well, because then they would have waited for them. I'm undoing the clamps just to give me something. Oh, this was a stupid spot. I'm in the middle of the rapids. Just to not have it go off on me. And there goes the gas monster. Fuck yeah. Back in business. I just gotta turn off the electric so it doesn't start spinning on its own. Curious to see if I'm fix the carburetor. So 8.6, 8.7, doing 9 when I managed to go straight. I'm just really happy I got the thing going again. motivation to make it to the lock in time. This is Montélimar. Probably mispronounced it as usual. If I don't get it to the lock well before 9, now it's 1954, I'll have yet another 5 o'clock rodeo in the morning. I just spoke to the lock operators. They're gonna let me in. So I made it in time. It's 20:53. Been waiting for 8 minutes. And there's a commercial craft coming up, so I was just gonna tag behind it, but he was a bit too slow. Then it's past 9 and now commercial boats can't go through the locks past 9. But today the lock operator was really friendly, so he apologized and said that I could just stay here. And I said, well, do you mind if I get up at 7 instead of 5? He's like, oh yeah, just get up whenever and just give us a call 20 minutes before you're ready. So I get some solitude out here. So much for peace and solitude. Those guys are camping there. Well, I just moved my boat a bit to avoid getting killed by carbon monoxide from their exhaust. But they were pretty chill. It's a Romanian guy that spoke French there. They're on their way to Lyon with a cargo of diesel. It's a tanker. But I've got my junk food here, so I'm gonna just eat and then get some sleep. So it's 7 o'clock. Good night's rest here. So now I'm just gonna put on some coffee, call the lock, and then keep going. It's a cruise barge, so this is gonna be a very tight squeeze. Just hoping I'll make it. With the rain yesterday and a bunch of lenticular clouds all around, I went online and I checked the weather forecast, and it's gonna be a mistral wind. There's not a lot of places I can camp out, so I really just gotta push it today. I want to get to Avignon. So that's 20 kilometers. It hasn't been firing properly. I think I flooded it by accident. So I'm just gonna clean it, but I'm really curious to see how filthy it is now, since I did the carb the other day. It was pretty bad. Pretty bad at filming these things, but I don't really want to piss off people pulling out a camera when I should be moving. So inside the lock there just now, the engine failed when I started it. It was pushing me along at 0.5 kilometers an hour. And luckily for me, I saw that it was badly fouled by some rope-like grass that just stopped it completely. I tried to call up the lock control, but my radio's too weak to make it out behind all those concrete walls. So I just grabbed my cheese knife there and just started cutting away. And in the end, I made it out. I stopped at that pontoon. Prop looks good. No share pins come off. So there's a free concrete dock where you can tie up. There's already a sailboat there, I can tell, but I mean normally you just have to contend with the barges, but tomorrow the Mistral's gonna pick up. It's gonna be 3-4 times stronger, and it's gonna come straight from the north. So we'll have 2 kilometers creating waves there. Max wind strength is gonna be 18 meters a second, I think, 11 or 12 sustained. So even the pilot itself warned specifically against going there. It's 7 kilometers to the Écluse de Avignon. It'll be the final lock of the day. Got plenty of time. Final lock of the day. So will be 4. Yeah, I think, yeah, because I slept in front of one. So that makes it 4 today. So this here's my destination. I'm about here in the turret. If anyone out there want to bet money, probably place your bet on my engine dying just as around the corner here. The other way. So back in the days when I used to sail at sea a lifetime ago, I had the old panel there and the red switches, although they drew a lot of power, would light up the cabin at night with a red light. But now I don't have that luxury anymore. So I'm gonna put this LED strip here, just close to the floor. So just to test it, I've got my cables here. I'm gonna get the positive and negative. Yep, that works. So in the end I ended up putting it up here because down here I'd have to drill a hole, and well, I don't want to drill more holes. So what I did is I cut a few holes in the insulation here and just put strips on, and there's glue on it. So let's test it. It's not too bad. So here's red, green, it's nice, blue, and there's got to be a disco function here as well. Oh yeah, of course. Can't be running that forever though. Probably gonna stick to that or green. Green's better for that vision, but red is the best for not ruining your night vision. Oh, the current's really strong. So when we were coming in a few days back, they, well, almost hit my boat. But it's way easier to get away from land, I guess. And I'm back in the Rhône. You know, usually I'm not such a huge fan of cities. Got social anxiety and not too comfortable in crowds, but Avignon was really a surprise. I really enjoyed that place. And the people you guys saw earlier leaving, I forgot to film them, but that's a couple of men in Valence. The guys from Brazil and the girl Spanish, they live in Spain, and they got a boat in Germany that they're bringing down. So the other day, when the mistral was picking up, and I passed the boat that I tied up to the concrete alongside the river, that was them. I didn't know it was turning, so it was pretty hellish for them to get out of there. The wind picking up and all. I got slammed into the wall. But today, they went to Port Napoleon, and that's where I'm going to, because I'm going to pick up a crew member called Melise. I left pretty late today, so I'm not going to make it all the way down in one day, because it's 77 kilometers left. So I'm going to do about 20 now and then anchor or tie up or whatever. Bit of sun glare there, but that's Avignon. I'm going to see if there's a spot for me there. Stop for the night. So, 22 euros here. Just gonna pay by envelope and put it in the mailbox. So in Macon the prices were 12, so it's increasing, but nothing too bad so far. Final day. So over there is the other alternative I had last night, but the pilot warned me that there was a lot of permanently, quote, squatting boats there. There is a lack of marinas on the river here. I should probably expand it a bit, because there's lots of spots where you could just build a nice little wave breaker and put out a few jetties. So there's the lock, there's 2 pleasure boats. They're going in now. 995 meters away from the lock entrance. So I'm just really hoping they're holding up. I called them, but today the operator only spoke French. So I said Avignon, which is the only word I know related to this. It's the final Rhône lock here, and I've got good company. It's an Eastern German boat, so you can just flip the mast up in a couple of seconds. So I spent the night next to a really nice couple. So they're going to Canal de Midi. You're on TV, by the way. I got this cruising guide here from an Australian couple, and well, I'm not going there, so might as well share it. Oh, it's that. Oh, thank you. Ciao. Well, that was fun. First they tied up and I gave them the pilot, and then they started chasing me because they got a better engine, so they're faster. Gave me 1.5 liters of Coke. Really happy about that, because I might be a bit of a sucker for soda. So here's the turning point to the right. It's Le Petit Rhône, small Rhône, and to the left as well, the Rhône. Pretty hard. I was supposed to go right to Montpellier and get the mast up there in a small nice marina. I'll be closer to Gibraltar, which is my ultimate goal of the Mediterranean. However, I'm picking up a crew member, so I'm heading down to Port Napoleon. The wind's going against the current, so I'm getting a fair bit of chop. It was worse under the bridge, but really slowing me down. I'm doing 4.3. I want to swap for gas outboard now, but gotta find somewhere to stop to do that. Should be doable, but it depends how deep this channel is. I'm way out of my depth here. Well, anchored. So now it's time to swap. Well, that was quite an operation, but I managed. And I got a glass of Coca-Cola as well. So that was a nice refreshment. I'm just hoping the outboard's not gonna pop out the chop. Fine in Denmark going against the current, but that was salt water. So it's 10 centimeters deeper. No, I'm 10 centimeters deeper now because this is fresh water. Oh, perfect. Ha! Well, I'll blame the sun. The wind's coming from here, so once I get around this corner, I'm just gonna hug the coaster. Should be better. But now I got the anchor ready in case something happens. I feel the moisture of the air. It's increased by a lot, and I can smell the ocean. I've been seeing seagulls for 10 days, but now I can smell the salt. I got a little sentimental here. There's less than 10 kilometers left, which is nice, but the wind's blowing at 4 to 6 meters a second, going against the current. So getting this nice little chop, which isn't much, but really wrecking havoc on my speed here. Doing 4.8. I was supposed to do 8 kilometers an hour, maybe 9, and I did for a while too. So now it looks like I'm gonna be 3 hours late, and apparently the lock that goes into Port St. Louis itself is only open at a certain time of day, and I don't know what that time is. But luckily for me, Rodrigo sent me a picture of what I assume to be the opening schedule, but there is no phone reception. So as usual, problem was in the phone reception. It was just the phone, turned it off and back on. I got 5G, but Rodrigo sent me this little schedule here. So lock's closed. There's not a lot I can do about that. So I'm just gonna anchor here. I thought of going all the way down here, but there's markers here, so the cargo ships have to go in the middle of these. So I might just ground now, so I gotta be a bit careful. But I'm going as slowly as I can. Oh, look at that sunset. I'm just gonna go as close to shore as I can. So I slept pretty well here. I mean, I've had worse. Just gonna go outside, have a look. So I haven't dragged this much. Pretty close to shore, but it's very deep here. So the lantern up there did its job, and the swell from the boat hasn't been awful. Our wind's picking up, it's not bad, but so I just gotta test the engine to see that it's actually working, so I don't pull the anchor and drift into the mangroves there. Crab's still in the water, making that way. 1.8 kilometers from the Écluse now, and that's waves coming from the ocean. So it's impossible to get to shore and it's illegal to tie up, but there's no anchoring prohibited sign, so I just dropped the hook. Just hoping there's not a million tons of scrap metal down here. But lock should open in 2 minutes. Yep, 11:30, so gotta get ready. There's a 2-knot current in here, so I was really struggling. Tried to tie up the stern, the rope just got pulled from my hands. Scratched myself up a bit, trying to just hold on. Well, there's a British Benici in front of me. I'm just hoping I didn't fuck the mast now. That would have really sucked.
In the next episode, I'm joined by French sailor Mélise from Marseille, and together we get the mast back up again. We then sail around the Gulf of Lion, and I get to experience the mighty Mistral wind and life in the Mediterranean Sea.